Well, certainly our new facility is needed greatly. The existing animal intake building is well beyond its usable life. It's very old. It was originally built in the 1960s and now it's 2015, so it's finally past time to bring some updated facilities online for animal services in our county. As you'll see as we go through this facility, it's very old, it's very dark, and of course one thing you can't appreciate on film that we can really appreciate in person is the smell. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we tour through the facility. I think one of our greatest needs is to be able to have a destination center where people feel welcome. And in our existing facility, one of the old things that we see kind of left over of kind of a reminder of how animal shelters were thought of and how animals were handled decades ago is kind of, you know, this pound look where we have it, you know, it looks very kind of like a prison center where we have barbed wire fence and chain link, and it's not very inviting for folks that come and visit. So much has changed in animal sheltering and how animals are thought of in society in the past 10 or 20 years, and that's reflected in how animals are now handled in shelter facilities. More emphasis is placed on adoption programs and being able to rehome homeless pets. So as we walk back to this building, you can kind of already see some of the challenges that we're talking about when we talk about the facilities kind of beyond its useful lifespan. Just constant issues such as this door that's rusted out at the bottom, we'll have to replace that. Recently we've had issues with some plumbing systems and things like that. We have a leak going on in the roof, so it's constant maintenance and constantly a lot of money. And when we say this building's beyond its usable life, really, truly it is. In today's facilities and designs for animal shelters, there's a lot of consideration given to air quality, mostly for the health of the pets as well as people having to work in these conditions. And so this building, as you come in, you can see that there's definitely some areas that need improvement. It's not an area that's very inviting to bring people in, and it's not a space that makes folks want to adopt pets. So we really, as we move into here, this is our dog holding area. So it's a real challenge for staff to maintain these kennels because they're not set up for the most efficient cleaning. They drain to the front of the kennel rather than drain to the center. So when staff are cleaning, they have to actually walk inside the kennel to push debris to the front trench. Also, it's not very efficient for managing cross-contamination between kennels. Ideally, you wouldn't want staff having to step into each kennel, especially a dirty kennel, and to hose things out toward the center aisle. You want to, ideally, and in best practice is to push debris when you're cleaning toward the center of the kennel. So this area is where we just painted this spring, and you can see all the paint is starting to chip off in certain areas. On this side we have a couple of kennels really bad, so we have to do some spot touch-ups on that. The number of dog housing kennels is also a real challenge for us. Some months we receive over 300 and 400 animals, and half of which are dogs, and there are only 32 dog runs to house all of those dogs. That's something that we really need is extra dog space in our new shelter facility. Both of these dog holding areas do not have air conditioning, which is a real challenge for us during the summer months to maintain the minimum temperature threshold set by the Department of Agriculture. There's certainly numerous challenges that we face with the old facility, including maintenance issues and repair issues, and just there being inadequate kennel space for the number of animals that we receive. We received a little over 5,000 animals last year, and it's really challenging in that small space with only 32 dog kennels, and as you'll see through the rest of the film, the very small cat holding areas that we have. So this is a cat holding area, and you can see it's very full. Cats are a challenge for us all year long. This is one of 2 cat holding areas. And again, we just don't have enough space to house all the cats that we receive in the community. One problem with these old facilities is we lack central heating and air conditioning in most of our animal holding areas. And this one in particular, this cat area, we have a window unit air conditioner and then a little ceiling unit heater. It's totally inadequate for maintaining animal health because there's just not enough air exchanges, and it can really perpetuate spread of disease. When you walk into an animal holding area, you shouldn't be able to smell the animals and the urine and feces, and you do in these animal holding areas because it's not properly ventilated. When cleaning's done, it drains to this floor drain, which then drains to the outside and then to the sewer. But what happens is it also creates an area where insects can come inside, so we constantly are battling flies. This is the other cat holding area, which stray and new incoming cats are housed. And this area again is at capacity. Our staff really does a lot of work. They clean each individual cat housing area daily, provide fresh litter, fresh food, medication if they need it. It's really labor intensive. And staff are working in these rooms where there's this overwhelming smell of cat urine and odors, and certainly it's not healthy for the staff and it's not healthy for the animals. Again, this facility, the way that the design is set up and animal housing areas are set up and distributed throughout the building is really not good. This area is our animal intake room, but it also functions as extra dog holding space because we don't have enough dog holding areas in our dog kennels. This is right adjacent to the cat room to my right, and there's also a cat room to the left. So both of those rooms are full with cats right now, and directly they can hear dogs barking, and it's not ideal for the cats. Stress in cats can contribute to illness, and so that's another challenge that we face in this facility, but we really have no other choice for housing areas because we're very limited on space. This small office is shared by about up to 5 animal control officers with the Sheriff's Department of Alamance County, and you can see it's a very tiny office for those folks, so there's a lot of additional office space that would be nice to have in a new expanded shelter facility. So this is our staff break room / workstations for our field officers and overflow for the front desk. Sometimes there's data entry that our staff will help out because we sometimes get so many intakes at the front desk and it stays so busy there with that person taking phone calls from the public as well as doing data entry and serving customers that come up to the counter. So this area is a multi-purpose room. It's where staff have breaks, lunches, and of course workspace. This is a new leak that we just discovered this morning, and it's really concerning because it's right above kind of the brains of our computer and technology equipment. And of course, with a building this old, this kind of thing happens all the time, and it's a constant distraction for our staff and a constant interruption for our operations as we have to stop what we're doing and address these issues or work with our maintenance crew and work around them to make sure that our operations can continue. Behind us is the old intake facility, and right next door is our pet adoption center, which is only about 11 years old and is in good condition. And so our plans are to add on to this existing building at the Pet Adoption Center to bring our operations under one roof and have one animal services center where intake and adoption is done under one roof. We feel that that may be the most cost-effective way to go about a new facility, is to just expand upon what we already have, which is in good condition, and do some renovation to bring some of those areas up to date. But also we feel it'll maximize efficiency of our operations to bring all of our staff under one roof rather than having to staff 2 separate buildings. So this is an artist's rendering of what the new facility may look like. This is actually the existing building, which we're in right now, the Pet Adoption Center. And this would be the expansion or the new construction that would be added on to that. Right now, right behind this building, we have some play yards. Those would move either to the back or to the side spaces, or maybe even some to the front, depending on how that may be laid out. So we'd still have those areas for folks to interact with dogs outside. We're really excited about the possibility of a new facility because our values as an animal welfare agency, we want a building that reflects those and reflects how we provide care for animals. And certainly in today's age, the animal shelter is no longer thought of as the pound, but it's thought of as a community destination for people and pets, and bringing those two together in our community. And certainly we'd like to have a facility that represents those values.